Did you know your 20s could be the loneliest years of your life? You can have hundreds of followers, a busy group chat, and still feel isolated. Why is loneliness in young adulthood so common and so invisible? If your 20s are supposed to be the best years of your life, why do so many young adults feel isolated and disconnected? Let's see why that is and look at ways we can manage that. Hi, I'm Dwayne. At Maudsley Learning, our mission is to improve mental health and well-being for all through education and training. In this video series, we're exploring real-life topics that shape how we think, feel, and interact in our daily lives, drawing inspiration from the brilliant blogs written by our experienced team of healthcare professionals. In this video, we want to open the conversation exploring what loneliness is, why it's so common in young adulthood, the signs to look out for, and most importantly, some tips on what you can do to reconnect. To coincide with Loneliness Awareness Week this year, we're talking about something that's more common than most people think: loneliness in young adulthood. Even in a world more connected than ever, many people in their late teens, 20s, and early 30s feel profoundly disconnected. This, in turn, can seriously impact mental health and people's overall well-being. You can read the original blog via the link in the description below. We're often told that young adulthood is the best time of our lives. You're supposed to make friends, find your path, fall in love, and chase dreams. But the reality is much more complicated and often not the case. So let's look at some research that gives us some insight as to why a large majority feel socially disconnected and lonely. Part of it comes down to change. Young adulthood is full of transitions, moving cities, leaving education, entering the workforce, making and losing friendships and relationships, flying the nest, constant shifts in identity and direction, and so much more. All of that instability can make it harder to form deep, reliable connections. There's also the pressures, especially online. Researchers found that people in this age group feel judged for being lonely, as if struggling with a connection somehow means you're failing at adulthood, resulting in suffering in silence. Erik H. Erikson, a prominent psychoanalyst, theorized that the relationships we form in early adulthood lay the groundwork for our social and emotional well-being later in life. His research shows that the quantity of connections we form in our 20s and the quality of those connections in our 30s were the most important predictors of our well-being outcomes. Our 20s are a time for learning social skills significant in navigating future social situations, whereas our 30s focus on creating deeper connections with others. Without those experiences in our 20s, we're likely to find pursuing and maintaining relationships in our 30s much more challenging. According to Campaign to End Loneliness, young adults aged between 16 and 24 are more likely to report feeling lonely than any other age group, and yet we rarely talk about it. One thing we need to understand is that loneliness isn't just about being on your own. People can surround you at school, at work, online, and yet you still feel completely disconnected. Loneliness is less about physical proximity and more about emotional connection. It's about feeling understood, valued, and able to express yourself fully. The Mental Health Foundation reports that nearly 1 in 4 adults aged 18 to 24 say they feel lonely often or always. And this level of disconnection can be linked to poor mental health, which might include anxiety, depression, and even increased risk of self-harm and suicide. So what can we do when loneliness starts to take hold? First, we name it. We acknowledge it without shame. Feeling lonely is not a personal failure. It's a human response to disconnection, which is becoming increasingly prevalent in today's society. Secondly, we reconnect with intention. That might mean reaching out to someone you trust or joining a group or class that genuinely interests you. Something where you can meet people on a shared ground, not just out of obligation. Taking that first step will be tough but beneficial in the long run. A report suggested that meaningful conversations, not just digital likes or comments, are key to reducing the feeling of isolation. So even 1 or 2 real meaningful connections can make a huge difference. That said, it's important to note that it's not about being popular, it's about being seen and validated. One of the most complex parts of loneliness is the voice that says, "This shouldn't be happening to me." That voice is often shaped by stigma, social expectations, unhelpful media portrayals, and even fear of judgment from family and friends. But we need to challenge that. Feeling lonely isn't a flaw. It's not something to be ashamed of. In fact, it's a signal. Your brain is telling you that you need connection, just like hunger and thirst telling you you need food and water. Treat yourself with compassion. You wouldn't shame a friend for struggling, so why would you do that to yourself? And if those feelings of loneliness start impacting your sleep, mood, and motivation, it's okay to reach out for professional support. That might be your GP, a therapist, or university well-being service. Loneliness in young adulthood is more widespread than we previously may have realized, and often more silent. But it's not permanent, and it's not a reflection of your worth. We need to create online and offline spaces where young people can talk honestly, without fear of judgment, and find meaningful connections. That includes peer support, community initiatives, and healthcare systems that take youth loneliness seriously. Take care, and if you're feeling lonely right now, please remember, it doesn't mean you're broken, it means you're human, and you're not alone. If this video helped you feel more understood, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear more from you and offer you a platform to have conversations with people in a similar situation. For more videos on mental health and well-being, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a future upload. You can also find a link to join our monthly newsletter for more on blogs, events, and training courses we offer. Thanks for watching.